First, I think I was here first. I don't know what you're talking about. Claiming to be here first. It's ridiculous. Okay, I guess it popped up its window under the top window somewhere. There we go. Let's try full screen. I have no idea if you guys can see. I will go to Twitch on, no, because I still need the chat up. Oh, God, Windows is so bad, dude. You can see. Okay, good. Now the question is, how do I get chat and Tactical Nexus at the same time? It's probably an unsolvable problem in computer science, but we will try. I'm just going to keep closing windows until other windows stop popping up over the browser. This is just what we have to do. Just close every window. Oh, and then it just doesn't put the frickin' browser up. Thanks. Thanks, Windows. Try that. Hey, we got it. Okay. So I tried playing Tactical Tower D, and it's pretty close to impossible. Like, I failed it twice, and I couldn't figure out what the possible solution could be. So I wonder if this is one of those games where you're supposed to grind on the same level, like Earth Defense Force. You're supposed to grind on the same level 27 times. Or maybe it was Tactical Tower K. I don't know. I think it was D. Tactical Tutorial 2. Why is that number 7? Let's try K. Okay. Will I get a red key? No, that's not me. I'm down here. Why is everybody in this game a mouse? $180, $120. $180, $120. Oh, interesting. I don't... Oh, I do have my dealy boppers. Okay, hold on. So there's this... The other reason why I think you might have to grind on things forever is there's this metagame thing here where I can, like, use what I've done previously to get more stuff. Like, at the start. Like, you can start with better... stats. So I'm going to restart the level. I'm going to go straight to Dream World here. And I have 2 of these. I think I can go... I'm going to go 2 attack. And then I can open one of these doodads. I kind of feel like a rainbow, because these give me 1 attack. 3 attack and 3 defense. Oh, I can't do those. That's a different one. I could do that one, though. 300 HP, 3 defense. $300 HP, 3 attack. Let's do that. I kind of want the attack. All right. So then I go back to the real reality, and now we're just better than we were. Except not really for some reason. All right. I don't usually play this with keyboard, but okay. Okay, so this level gives out attacks like candy, so maybe those weren't the best things to get, but probably it doesn't matter. 1424. It displays the information so messed up. Like the main information that you want is how much damage do you take from attacking the guy, which like here is the second to last line. It's not the top line, it's not the bottom line, it's not drawn in a different color. I could make this game a lot more playable in just one day. All right, so we got a gold key. I'm just fighting the wussy guys. Oh. See, we have all these HP now. So the stuff I did in that room at the beginning didn't really matter on the scale of what's here. But it is what it is. Oh, I leveled up. What happens if I do defense? Not that good. Yeah. I don't know. I'll hold on to it. Whoops. Oh yeah, he was wussy. All right, so I could go in here. I have 3 gold keys. And I do get a gold and a blue for going in there, so it's basically a no-brainer. And I get 2,000 HP. Let's do it. I actually like the previous level that I was playing a little better because it wasn't so stat crazy. Like, it was very hard to raise your attack in that level, which meant the game was more sane in some ways. All right. Nope. I missed. Okay. So it wants me to get a purple key to go upstairs, which there's just over there. Invalid attack. Wow, okay. So it really wants me to stay here for a while. This guy has 210 defense. Dude, I need an attack of 210. I don't understand what this game wants from me. Maybe this level is impossible also. Maybe I have to grind level 1 over and over and over. I don't see how I'm going to get to 210. So there's not enough stuff here. Can be good to save HP pickups for later once you've gotten a multiplier. I know that. I was not born yesterday. However, that is not the problem that I have right now. Camera is blocking a lot of the important info. There's not really a good place to put the camera for this game. We could put it in the lower right, since it's just going to block controls and stuff. You're supposed to pick up a feather with a red key ASAP and then just level. Let's try that. Because, yeah, that's all that I can think of is be very sparing about killing the guys and just like level, right? So there's a feather there, feather there, feather there. Behind guys I can't. There's a feather there with a blue key. So where would I get a key from? I need a blue key or a red key. This guy ain't nothing's happening with him for a while. Can I get a key off here? Not really. No. Oh, I could have got... Wait, power card is 5. Okay, let's at least do that. That'll help us a little bit. Still not going to be like defense 210, man. All right, at least we're at 57. All right. Oh, wait, there's a purple key right there. Wait, I was stupid. I reset for no reason. I only saw that one for some reason. There's one right there. Just open it right there. Like what? I can just fight this guy right now and then undo it if we want. All right, so purple key. Why didn't I see that? Okay, so this isn't a super tight dungeon. It's just a regular dungeon where we will need another purple key to go up. All right. It would be good to get these feathers, though. Ain't lying. So we can get 2 blue keys if we get this gold key, because I have 2 gold keys. So we go plow through, get both of those, and then open that. That seems not the worst plan. The thing is, I can't get the other blue key without another gold key because of that. If I open this first, though, then I don't even need that stuff. So forget it. All right. All right. Okay. Feather time. Stop. Feather time. Okay. Now we could trade 3 yellow keys for 2 blue keys. Damage 0. Invalid attack. All right. All right. We'll look on the next floor to see what we need key-wise. We can just come back down here and exchange these keys anytime we want, or we can get all this. It's not really, 5 more defense is proportionally substantial to what I have. How anyone can make a game look this bad? Yeah, Did you miss the music yesterday? The music is even better. All right, yellow and blue. Like this area wants a lot of yellow keys. I could buy one or buy a pack of 3. I don't know. It doesn't seem worth it. That yellow for blue exchange on the bottom level didn't seem like a good play. All right, what are we trying to do here? We want purple key. There's one there. But that would be good. 15 attack is still pretty good. Oh, 15, 18, 21. 21 attack, 4 keys and a feather. That's really good to get into. May not be able to get there. Okay. So if I like so if I go through the blue door, these guys all go down really fast. Then I'm out of blue keys there, but I get 1 and a yellow. Then I have 4 yellow. So I'm 1 blue key short, but I could level to do that and just get the purple. Or we can go around here and take more damage, but like it's not that much more, and we want to collect all these things anyway. So let's do that. We have a surplus of yellows. Oh, invalid attack. I didn't notice. Bro. So I'm short of blue no matter what. Let's just do it. Sometimes I feel like that's a waste, but whoops. We're getting information. Okay, I don't think there's a super good reason to go up here yet. I mean, we can fight these guys, or a lot of them, but there's still plenty of guys we can fight down below. So I'm gonna undo that. I'm gonna try to get over here and get that goody stuff. Oh, let's try to get this feather too. Let's buy 3 golds. I feel like it's a good way to lose buying keys, but you know. Someone just suggested this game kind of randomly. I don't know. I was like, hey, does anyone know good puzzle games? I would not really say that this is what I was thinking of. I mean, I'm playing it because it's different from a lot of games, but I'm not sure, like, I think it would benefit a great deal from being more focused. Wait, there was a gold key there the whole time. Damage 0, great. Do I want the extra 3 attack right now? Yeah. Okay, we got the feathers. We have got a feather situation going on. Let's try going back down to the first floor. 4450. Oh, we have a red key, so we can get that feather. I mean, 1 attack and 2 defense, is that worth it? Probably not. Well, we can spend a key down here and get more than that. Or not even spend a key. Actually, you know what? Let's not take so much damage from that guy. Oh, it didn't matter much. You know, defense is kind of a sucky stat in this game. It's not that good. You almost always want more attack. Oops. I could get that right now. Could get that right now. Wait, I just did defense. Hold on. Yeah, see, that doesn't do much. If I do offense, big difference in how much damage I take. All right. So now, could just mop some dudes up here. We have feathers. Plus 19, plus 79, plus 80, plus 1. Let's see. That's telling me that TRT at the bottom is like, what stat do you need to take fewer turns to fight him, which will make you take less damage? By a lot, yeah. I don't know if that's still good enough to spend right now. Anyway. They're mice, they're not foxes. Well, maybe that's a fox. Wait, what? Are they foxes? I don't know the difference between mice and foxes, obviously. Okay. We got a purple key down in the corner. That's basically my next real mission. So I could fight through without spending more keys. This guy is the only guy who's really going to hurt. But he's going to hurt a lot. But if I do my attack, not as bad. Still bad, though. Still bad. I would rather, like, level up one more time. By fighting some goobers out here. Oh, there's a purple key right there. Wait, I don't have to work that hard to get a purple key. I need to spot the purple keys better. All right. So red key, I don't know if I want to spend one to get that. I could go around. Always be attacking. A always. B, C attacking. Always be attacking. That dude does a lot of damage. All right, level 3. Now let's see what it's like up here. Damage 122. Ha! What's up here? Gray key. Silver, platinum key. Whoa, I can't even go anywhere. I got to go up and back down. All right. Great. Game's just trying to be confusing. I have not seen a single health multiplier. That's the thing, is if you're kind of saving health, but it turns out there are no multipliers on the entire level, which I don't know if there's a way. Like it announces some rules at the beginning, but I don't know. Let's get this attack over here. We're getting kind of low on the HP. Let's backtrack and just guzzle some healths for a bit. I kind of want that key. Maybe not worth it, but okay. We have so many healths down here. Almost worth that. All right. Going back up. So higher attack is not going to help me in any of these guys. So maybe defense. Defense helps a little bit. I don't know though. Defense, it's not that great of a stat. Okay, so I could use my red key and get over there. Or I can go whatever the normal route is going to be. Let's see, blue key. We have a blue key. Let's do it. Why not? We like feathers. Where am I? Here. Feather. Feather, that's more costly. There's a lot of feathers. Oh yeah, that mattered. Kind of want this one. Whoops. Wait, what? 25. Oh, I'm a little lower than I thought. I was like, what happened? Should I get this defense up here? It's kind of expensive. I can get, oh, I never got this feather. Because it's 25,000 damage. That's why. Apparently this game costs up to $700 with all DLC. Well, I mean, I'll just say the levels do not feel like they're super carefully designed. They're just like a bunch of rooms. So if you wanted to just crank out levels for this game, you pretty much could. You know what I'm saying? All right, I hope I'm not digging myself into a real bad hole here. Let's leave that guy for now. All right, so we got low HP, but you know. There's lots of health laying around. Back in the maze, this multi-level maze, so confusing. We got 2,000 right there. All right. I could do that. One attack though. Okay, platinum key is up there. I don't like when things get really mazy. Like this game is mazy enough. This game stars Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones under normal circumstances. So like, it's just a little too much. Now, I kind of want that defense at this point. Let's just do it to see how this 25, 26. No, not worth. Not worth. All right. See what I mean? Game is not the most carefully designed. It's just like, oh, let's have a line of dudes. People will be like, whoa, there's a line of dudes here. Over 368,000. It's kind of dumb given how few HPs I have. Oh, especially because I can't. Let's do it anyway. We've got HPs. Two gold and two blue. I have two blue. Because I just spent one. 20 defense would be nice, though. Not that nice. Like I had XP. Maybe I should have got that feather. All right. Like, really, guys? Oh, there's a blue key. I could go back and get that stuff. Except... I don't have enough for this guy. I wouldn't want to spend a purple even if I had one, so we'll come back for him. It's okay. We know how to get to the thing now. You know the thing, as Joe Biden says. All right, so now, is it worth spending both my blue keys? On the other hand, I could go back to the beginning and down through here and do all this stuff that I probably should have done earlier. And we use one of the blue keys there to get a feather and some stuff. It's like, I mean, it's kind of a wash, honestly. Maybe we'll spend a level on... I forgot about the red key. All right. That might not have been the right strat. Who's going to argue with that? All right. So this guy takes like half my HP, but then I get more good stuff. You know what? Before we fight him... All right. I like the moon potion. The moon potion is pretty good. Take these guys out. Actually, do that guy after I level. Because this will be enough guys to level, I think. Maybe not. Jeez. Thought it would be. Not quite. All right. doesn't matter much. Okay. Maybe that wasn't the right order to do that in, but whatever. This level can bite me. All right. So could get that. Okay. Cloud City with Mario. Oh boy, look at all the blue keys I don't have now. We sure can come back here and get some attack power and some super potions. Red key, that's the thing to open right there. Purple key, maybe. That seems like the best purple. This seems like the best red. Let's go see what's here. A bunch of dudes that aren't that bad, but we could certainly... Oh, there's another red key down there. Let's get our first red over here. And let's hope it's okay to spend a purple. Like we're not going to regret this. All right. These are threes, and this gets us attack. That also gets us attack. So we're going to clear these out. All right. Nines, nines. But that's good. Let's do these. +2 attack. All right. our +2 attack. Now they're 450. Ha. Ha! You do half damage, bro. Okay, let's see. So we can get feathers very expensively. No, you know, maybe... Wait, I was saying this was the best purple. Why did I get that one? Because that one's progressive. I kind of want to undo all that and get the purple that I wanted. It's okay, it'll only take a second. Probably doesn't matter that much because, like we said, defense is a sucky stat, but you gotta min-max in life. Like, look, 338 and 876. They do less damage. See? See? There. All back where we were. Because once you know what you're doing, once you don't have to decide, it like goes real fast. Okay, so we can get this red. So that's 3 attack, 8 attack. That's plus 2% attack. Or one of these days, I could just spend my level up on these. It's kind of not worth it though. What do feathers do? They give you 30% extra XP from fighting mice. Okay, so we could go for this purple now. We also have a yellow. $75. You guys are silly. Wait. Plus 72. Maybe I should, I'm going to save this level up since it's not helping me with these guys, and maybe we just spend it on a key. $53.01. That's a ripoff. I could afford it though. All the good stuff is behind dudes. This is the cheapest purple. We could have 2 level ups. There we go. So we have 2 level ups and a purple key. And that'll help us. Oh, except not really, because that's the defense purple key. bro. But, whoops. Do I want to go all the way in there? Maybe that one too. Actually, hold on. Plus 39 attack, which I will get if I level up twice. Didn't help that much, but I'll take it. All right. Okay. Oh, wait. Guys, I wasn't paying attention to the purple keys in the corner, of which I need 5 to get out, and of which I only have 4 left, except there was one. That other guy had one. Right? That guy in the maze. That guy has one. So we could still get out. Don't worry. Wait, did I not take the feather? Hold on. Should I take this right now? How do you play this? You click around, man. You gotta click around. You have to click the clicker. All right. So we can set about maybe getting these now. It's going to be maybe tough. Maybe. Some of these guys have hit points, man. These guys don't really. Wow, these guys are worth a lot of XP. All right, we got a purple again. $19,000. Maybe I shouldn't have spent all those purples. We might have to rewind. All right. Ouch. I'm not going to be able to get past that guy anyway. You know what? I got to rewind it a bit. Remember this? All right. Actually, now let's not even, because that's 15 attack. We get more than that with every level. So let's just try to get up. So we have 1 purple. Where did I get the second one? I thought I spent multiple in the maze there. Oh, it was that one. Oh, God. Sorry, everybody. There we go. All right. Remember when I did all this and then I was like, no, I'm going to undo it and read. I should have just never undone it. It was fine. We had done the right thing. We know how to play this game. We know how to own, except for when we have to stop and go backward for an hour. All right. All right. So we have 2. Wait, why don't we have 2? Oh, because we didn't get this one. Ouch. All right, now we have 2. All right. We are making it clear where we are spending our purples. I need 280 attack to shorten the round. Ain't gonna happen. Okay. What I kind of feel like doing is trying to remember what was way down that we didn't get. That was good. Like, here's some HP for us. Dude, there was a purple. I forgot about that one. Furthermore, these are going to be more valuable to us in Roomland than yellows. All right. All right. We're getting equipped. We're going up. And that guy's still there. 5,000. Okay, so I could spend a purple, honestly, at this time, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna try and restrain myself. blues get me 15 attack or 5 attack, 5 defense, and 10k HP. I feel like I could use one of each of those, although honestly this is a guess, so we might have to undo this. I do still have a red key. Do we spend the red key? Let's do it. Could have spent that an hour ago. All right. So we need 2 more purples. What are our cheapest 2 purples? This guy is 56. He's about 6,000. This guy is 25. This is a good candidate. This guy, I spent the blue key. So 40,000. No, no. 4,000. Okay. So this and this are reasonable. And these guys are not bad. We got that one before as well. All right. And then, after that is done, any other purples we get are pure profit. Let's go get these. Finally, thank you. And then, I am going to dig in here. To get one of these, and these guys are kind of tough. Oh boy, these guys aren't so bad. Let's actually go. Let's go do this now. Hopefully there's not a trick why we still needed to save our purple. All right. We're out of gold keys. Could have saved some HP there. All right. Now, 35,000 to get in there. Not going to do that. It does want more purple. Oh my God, guys. There is one there, but like... This is what I don't like about this game. Is like there's no reasonable way to make decisions. It all just depends on what's the level. You can get into a thing where you're like hoarding your keys and never spending them, and then you had a terrible time because you never got all the resources that should have been yours. Or you spend your keys and then there's a level that needs one of every color, and it's like, ugh. There's like no, I mean, in some sense that's fine. It's just like not a good game mechanic. What you hate about this game is everything. Oh boy. I mean, I spent blues and golds. I don't know. I'm kind of done with it for now, I think. We could switch to compiler cleanup stream. Or we could play a different game if people have a good idea for a different game. Have I played Devil Daggers? Yes, I have. Have I played that game Casey gifted me? Oh, no, I didn't. I don't even know what it is, though. How is it 8 p.m. already? Somebody explain that to me. I do not understand how it is 8 p.m. Time passed. That is how that happens is a great mystery. Let's see what Casey sent me. What is wrong with Steam? Go to my library. I keep hitting the library. Oh, it's off. Right? It's doing this thing where the coordinates are wrong. Let's restart. Oh, no, that's big picture mode. Ugh. So we have to exit Steam down here. Wait for it to crash. Oh, wait, no, that. We have to somehow. There we go. Exit. You have to find the right position. I reported this problem to Valve, someone I know on a forum who works at Valve, like 2.5 years ago. And he was like, oh, that's so weird. I've never heard of anyone having that problem. And I'm like, dude, it happens all the time. They never fixed it. I think this was it. I don't want to register. Well, they certainly didn't design this game with 4K displays in mind. I understand why. Like 4K displays have only been a thing for like 10 years. How could you possibly adapt? I don't care. Oh my God. Oh, those are slimes. All right. Well, maybe that's a usable game at a different resolution. I don't know. It might be time to do compiler stuff, guys. I don't know. I tried to play games. You think I can scale the UI? It is not my job to scale the UI. It is the game developer's job to scale the UI. Why is the game developer trying to get me to pay money to do their job? I played Hypnospace Outlaw for a short amount of time. Have I seen Townscaper? Yes. Was Hypnospace a turnoff? Yeah, I couldn't really see why I should want to play it after, you know, half an hour or whatever. My iPhone is not backed up. All right. I'm feeling kind of lazy today, but we'll do at least a little bit of compiler stuff. Can you whisper me a Steam key for your game to get feedback? I don't do the feedback thing most of the time. Like, mostly people don't need my feedback, right? And mostly what I have to say people aren't going to like as well. So it just, and I just don't have enough time to play everybody's game, you know? Okay. Let's last check. Okay. We never played Battle Brothers, but we can save that for next time. I played 14 minutes of Hypnospace Outlaw. I thought after all that build-up they were going to do something creative or entertaining in the trailer, and they didn't. All right. How is it that my mic doesn't pick up my speakers? I don't know. It's some kind of mystery magic. All right, let's do a little bit of compiler stuff. I will change over the stream title and category. Right. So I wanted to know why that. I've just got a bunch of random cleanups that I want to do. I did a big refactor of the compiler over the past actually like 7 weeks. Like it took, well, that's not really even the main thing I was working on that entire 7 weeks, but calendar time, it took a long time and just got checked in. But you know, now there's just all these other things to clean up that are related. Let's actually look at a different one than what was here. I'm trying to remove, there's some concepts that are in the compiler that are no longer needed. Like get scope status, I want to get rid of. That should not be a thing anymore. Oops. All right. Get scope status. This is a function that different compilation units were calling to know whether they were clear to proceed building or not. And in retrospect, we don't want things to work that way. So really, what's going to happen instead is that things are only building if they're going to build all the way, and then we don't have such a thing as get scope status. All right. Get scope status. Get scope status. So that's the other overload. So this should never happen. Let's just assert false here. Oh God, I hate Visual Studio, dude. Just do what I type. Stop it. All right, we're just going to put assert false there. And, well, if that never fires, which I don't think it should, actually, I think I know one case when it might that we have to fix, which might not be a trivial fix, sadly. Anyway, we'll see. If we can fix this, then we can get rid of scope rejected. And once there's no scope rejected, the only thing this could ever return is scope accepted, which means we don't need it anymore. And all the callers can be removed, which will be good. Okay, well that is definitely going off. So let's see where. I think I know. I think it has to do with macros. Whoops, that's an old breakpoint that we don't need. Let's get rid of all old breakpoints. Bam. All right. So querier is who wants to know the scope status. It's a declaration. Line 144 of hash table. Which is this, yeah, okay. So we do this thing when we're expanding a macro. We need to know, hey, which declarations are backticked, because those are the ones where we want to make a link into the caller's scope. And so I think the problem is that we collect all the backtick declarations. And then I guess we queue them when we make a link to them, although that doesn't totally make sense to me. I'm going to have to check that. So anyway, what we can do is we can say what is when did this thing get queued? Oh, it's not? Oh. Interesting, okay. Oh, this is really old code. But yeah, okay. It's kind of gross and we would like to remove it. What this is doing is when a static if, so this, for example, is a static if. When a static if resolves, it either says, well, we want this block or this block, right? These blocks are much like each other, but they could be anything, right? They could be totally different things. So oops. So scope modified declarations gets put there in the copier. This is a quite involved thing. What's a static if? It is an if that evaluates at compile time. Yeah, I am low energy tonight. But let's see if we can make headway on this, despite being low energy. Because if you could do that, then when you're high energy, really a lot of things could happen. So there's this whole thing about static ifs and macros and stuff. And it gets complicated because, like, when we expand a macro, we copy the syntax tree for the body of the macro, right? And when we do that copy, because we have to visit all the nodes anyway, we notice which nodes are backticked in the way that we care about, right? And then we put those, well, we make a note that those get linked. However, when you have something like a static if, you can't like link those names out of the hygienic macro automatically because, you know, one of the bodies of the static if is going to get thrown away and the other one is going to get kept. And so that's what we're checking for here. Or, you know, there could be another static if inside the static if, which means even though it's inside the block that you care about, etc. So I think actually, now that we are wanting to get rid of get scope status, we want to keep, so scope modified declarations is like all the ones that are backticked, right? I think we could have two lists instead of one. We could have one for the then block and one for the else block, right? And then that takes care of not doing the ones in the block that we threw away. And then if there's another static if nested inside us, that actually shouldn't matter. Because that static if should get the scope modified declarations and not us. And so there's weird cases like what if it's a procedure? And honestly, I need to think about those, but I'm going to make that a different item. Okay. So let's go look at the copier just to see how this works. Yeah, so it's only the innermost static if, right? And that gets set here, right? And what we can do, so instead of this just adding it to scope modified declarations for the static if, this can tell you which block to put it in. So we're going to say if innermost static if scope modified declarations array. See? Just name your variable the right thing and it'll give you energy. So here, because we might not be the outermost static if, we're just grabbing the variables. from the outer guy and storing them on our stack, and we'll put them back later, right? So we're going to say all right. So then we do the then block. This copies all the things in the then block. When we're doing that, we notice if anything is a scope modified declaration, and we'll put them in here. And then we'll say for else block, and then do the same thing there. All right, so we need to have that be a thing. That's a pointer to an array. Okay, so now the static if itself doesn't have this. It just has this. Or these, right? So we have one for the then block and one for the else block. And then we just need to use those. Okay. So if static if evaluated as true, you know what? Not then block, right? Else, it's for the else block. All right. And there we go. All right. Could make this a reference, but whatever. Okay, so I probably messed up many things, but let's see what happens. See, that's the thing, like, to do what I just did in 10 minutes instead of like 4 hours or 2 days or a week, like sometimes people take to do something like that. Hey, we got it to compile. You need to have a picture of what the whole program's doing, right? You need to know what is happening. It's very important. Like, I have not thought about this code in months, but once I started, how did this work? Oh yeah, this and that, and it just sort of started coming rolling back. PooRT is good stuff. Okay. Well, our game compiled. Is it possible that this worked the first time? It is possible. Is it possible that there's still a problem in some weird cases, and we'll see that when we run the tests? It is possible. But honestly, if that actually worked the first time, right on. We're running the tests in debug mode, so we get all the asserts and stuff, which is a little bit slow. But, I honestly didn't think that would work that easily. How's it going in chat, everybody? Besides PureT, what else is going on? Any opinion on Uber shaders? I mean, I don't know. I probably prefer them to a lot of other things, but it really depends. It depends on the system you're running on and all kinds of things. We don't actually use them right now. We use a lot of individual shaders, but I do think we may be switching back to like fewer shaders in total. Do I use standard lib first, then port one by one? I don't know what you mean. Standard, what standard lib? Yep, our thing worked the first time. Sometimes you just type something and it works. So, great. That means we get to get rid of this ugly thing, which I had not even remembered was there, but I am very glad to be rid of that. And that means I think we can get rid of get scope status completely. See, I said get scope, and there's a lot of variables called target scope, and we accidentally matched that. All right, let's try getting rid of get scope status. It's just always going to be scope accepted. I will be so happy if we actually can do this. I will be so happy, dude. Nobody's using status here anymore. Okay, scope rejected. That should never happen. Thankfully. Not checking for that will speed up our compiler slightly. Okay, inside polymorphic function is also something we should be able to get rid of, but that's a separate step. I'll be so happy to get rid of this stuff, guys. So I probably forgot to delete a variable that was using a scope status or something. We'll see. And if it compiles, we'll just run all the tests nice and slow again. We want to be really sure, and then we'll run release build after. Oh my gosh. Oh, we got to remove the enums. Bam. That's how you really know nobody's using it anymore. Trying to get your weapon reloading UI to read from the current gun data in a clean way. Why is that not clean? What's the problem? It doesn't seem like it should be a problem. So I kind of wonder, I mean, you know, sometimes when you're new at making a certain kind of program, it just gets confusing, but if you know the right way to do things, it's a lot simpler. I don't know. All right, well, the game builds. Let's do the tests again. Let's run the game again. Kind of wondering about whether a soundtrack or score will exist for this. This game will have more music than The Witness by a lot, but it won't be totally traditional. How do you engineer something that is not boring over the course of 100 plus hours sound-wise? Very carefully. Yeah, it's very different from, you know, scoring a movie or, you know, making an album or whatever, right? It's super different. And a lot of games do it badly and then they don't sound good, right? So don't do that. Avoid that. More music than The Witness, that's saying a lot. Not really. The Witness had what, 12 minutes of music, 14 minutes of music? Something like that. Is there a sane way to do level serialization? Was trying to link against Proto. Is that Proto you know what? Seems a lot more effort than worth. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Has thinking there changed at all? For the new game, we do a modified version of that system that was talked about that we posted for The Witness, but same basic idea. You're writing your UI to look at the current weapon state every frame rather than having the weapon have to pass the data to the UI on firing reload events because you're animating the counter pretty often. Wait, what? Why wouldn't you look at the weapon state every frame? That's it. So if you mean like when you reload, it tells the UI what the number of bullets is, and then the UI stores that number somewhere, etc. That's not a good way to do things. That's a very like copying from like lame-o but Unix widget sets, like, you know, XT and QT and whatever. Like, you don't want your UI to have to duplicate state for all this stuff that already exists. That gets really tedious and error prone. You just don't want to do things that way. For a game especially, just look at how many shots are in the weapon and draw that number. That's what you do. It's very simple. Yeah, for serializing your level, I mean, it's hard to give very general advice. Like, if we knew, oh, look, that worked too. Awesome. All right, so what did we do? We got rid of get scope status. Happy day. I am happy about that. All right. Did I work part-time for Braid and full-time for The Witness? No, I mean, for both of these games, I work more than full-time. Easily. There was a time on Braid when I was contracting on other people's games, and so I was working part-time on the game during that time. But if you say over the course of the entire game, I certainly worked a hell of a lot on it. Okay. Let's look at this inside polymorphic function. I mean, really, we shouldn't need this, hopefully. We're going to do the same trick where we just say assert false. Because, oh God, I hate that. Like, if you're going to assume you know better than the person who's typing, then at least do a good job. Oh my God. All right. Here we're going to put else assert false. I hate Visual Studio. I hate Visual Studio. Okay, and then this one I assume we can just get rid of. This was just printing out an error message, although we could do that one third. Let's just leave the asserts on the first two. And again, we're just gonna run these. This one, there's a reasonable chance that one of these asserts will fire. It is, the chances are not low. But do I think indie dev movie is kind of stealing indie developers' enthusiasm? What does that mean? What do you mean by stealing indie developers' enthusiasm? I'm not sure. 6 years ago? It's like 8 years ago. Did something happen with this movie lately? Wow. Well, I guess this pretty much. You meant it kind of makes people sad. Well, it's a hard line of work. It's a very hard line of work, and if you're going to go into it, you should be prepared for that. Telling the truth is dangerous business. Honest and popular. Okay, you know what? This has been a really good... When I started this and said, oh, you know, I'm pretty tired, but blah, blah, blah. So we're also going to delete this and then try running with that. I don't think that'll be a problem, but we're going to see. I was like, wow, this could be just a total struggle. Not a struggle session. That's what's going on in woke politics right now, but just a regular struggle. And, you know, I figured like maybe I won't get anything useful done, but no, because this whole overhaul that was done was a very good thing structurally for the compiler, and made a lot of things better. And this is a sign of that we can remove these things that historically caused a lot of complications, and it's like easy now. Do I still have contact with any of the other guy? You mean from Indie Game the movie? I mean, I talk to Edmund once in a while, and I've seen him. I see Edmund like every couple of years these days, especially after virus days. Phil, I haven't seen in many years. I don't know what he's doing. Ay, ay, ay. Have I seen the game Crosscode? No, I don't know what that is. Do I have an order of magnitude estimate for line of code for what a non-trivial program is? No, it's just like, is it trying to do something hard or not? Or is it trying to do something that's not easy? That's all. That doesn't necessarily have a line of code size. Wow. All right. Well, I'm happy to be rid of this stuff. So we're going to get rid of this and this and that. This shouldn't be relevant either, come to think of it. But we'll do that in a next pass. We're just concerned now with inside polymorphic function. We're getting rid of inside polymorphic function. Deleting code is the best. It is the best. All right. $100,000 lines of HTML. Sounds great. You know what? Let's play that while we're running the tests in debug again. Crosscode game. Oh, it's like on Steam. Radical Fish Games. Wait, I think I've seen this before. I mean, it's not a high performance kind of game, so you could see how you could do it in JavaScript. It's just like some sprites. Way to get me to not want to play the game is to show the story dialogues. Well, shame that they did that in JavaScript. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. Seems like it sold a lot of copies, though. Just went with what he knew. Well, I understand that. All right, so that's great. We got rid of inside polymorphic function. So we've been running debug mode tests. We're going to run a release mode test just to do it. And then we'll check that in. All right. Wow. That sounds not great. But a JavaScript interpreter is a JavaScript interpreter. So like, why are they allowed to write their own JavaScript interpreter and not use an actual JavaScript interpreter? Like, I don't know. I don't know, man. All right. Remove inside polymorphic function. Bam. Okay, this thing in principle shouldn't be necessary anymore. The thing is, we might have to move this. The comment is certainly no longer true because inside polymorphic function is gone. Let's just try ifing this out. The thing is, I just don't know if the equivalent thing happens later. All right. Well, the answer is you can't just if it out. Type query's target type is not fully processed. Okay. Wait, but why did that fire then? I bet we queued the whole lambda. All right, let's go look in. Let's go look in. So this is sort of normally where we would prefer to decide if we're polymorphic. And here is the thing that we did that was setting polymorphism in the parser, which, like we say, we would prefer not to do at all. So this was a auto value bake, $T, that's what that means. So I think we just need the following. This is kind of redundant, but you know, it is what it is. Well, the game compiled that time. Does it run? Does it blend? I think so. Let's run release tests again. And then we'll do debug tests as well after that, just because we're being really paranoid because these, oh, there we go. These things that we're changing, they can affect a lot of things. Undeclared identifier R. That's a steel polymorphism problem. That is not an auto value bake. That's one of our parameters is a polymorphic function, and for some reason we didn't handle it. So that's this part, but not this part. So I bet if I comment this, okay, first of all, let's just run this test, right? We're just going to run that, and that'll fail. Now, I'm going to comment this back in, but I'm going to comment this out. The auto value bake, right? So if we want to remove all this code, we can remove it one piece at a time, right? One piece is if the value bake is set, then set this flag, and one piece is if the constants block has things in it, then set the flag, right? So first we do this. We can make this work for all the tests and everything, and then we can try the other part, right? Strategies. Let's make sure the game still works. Let's try our test that just failed. It succeeded. Let's try all the tests. See, this is how you succeed in the games industry. Except this isn't the games industry, it's a programming language. Once again, everybody's talking about JavaScript in chat. Great. You guys know there are programmers on Twitch who just stream in JavaScript. You know, you could like go hang out in their chat, talk about JavaScript. Okay, so now the question is, okay, so if we recompile with this other part off, the polymorphic part, then This test should fail again, whichever one it was. This one. Yes. Okay, so now if we just transpose this logic to the other place where we just were, does that fix it? Returns block. Yeah, we don't seem to iterate the constants block. So maybe that's all we need to do to make that work. And that makes me very happy because that polymorphism in the parser was confusing. Like I would forget about it for a long... Oh, that didn't work. I would forget about it for a long time and whatever. Oh, geez. Okay. Here's the thing. This thing in the parser said, hey, if there's stuff in the constants block, it's polymorphic. That is true during the parse phase. But in type checking, you can have procedures that used to be polymorphic where you filled in values in the constants block. And so this is no longer the right check. All right. Oh, you know, we could actually say is unbound constants block binding. Well, let's just say there's a function for that and then break because we don't need to do anything anymore. All right, let's see what happens there. Scope entry expression. Maybe I need to get rid of the scope entry thing. It's supposed to be a simplification, but I'm not sure it is. All right. Really? Really? Well, we did two things in a row that went flawlessly with no problems. So, of course, sometimes it's just time to have a problem. Okay. I want to know why this doesn't get marked as polymorphic, or maybe it does, but maybe it's happening too late. We'll just hope that saying line 102 is good enough for now to find it. It may not be. There's a lot of files in this project. Oh, no, sorry, we're running the game. We want to run the test. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. All right, let's try this. Okay. So free, that's not the right one. Still free. Still free. No. It says line 102. Okay, we'll look for the error instead. This is, I was just trying to identify the function, so we'll do it a different way. It could be that we never got to check. Hey. It's not called that anymore. Anyway, what happens in a case like this is you have a procedure, it takes another procedure as an argument. It notices that that procedure is polymorphic and then lifts the variables off into its own. And that isn't happening for some reason because the thing is not flagged as polymorphic soon enough. Maybe check function header to, I don't know. Why isn't there a dollar before the R? Because you only put the dollar sign once for a given variable. See, there's none before the T here either. The way it works is, so, you know, when you define a function, often people make a mistake and call it wrong, right? That's why we have type checking in our programming language to help them when they do that. Now, when you give error messages, you want them to be as helpful as possible. And the problem that happens with a lot of these like generic type programming is you'll just get like an error like, no combination of arguments satisfies the type constraints imposed by the signature of the following function, blah, blah, blah. And you're looking at that and you're like, PC load letter, what the fuck does that mean, right? So this is a way of helping with that. This is a way of saying, for example, when you're going to call this function, whatever the array is probably right. And then you're going to pass a function that operates on the array. And if that's the wrong function, then the function's wrong. The array's not wrong. And the way that you say that is like, look, T has the dollar sign. So this is the one who actually determines what T means. It's not like T could, like either of these things could determine what T means. This one determines what T means. And then if this one doesn't match, or any, there could be 12 T's, right? The other 11 don't have dollar signs. If any of those don't match, then that's the error, right? But this is never the error. Does that make sense? What's the difference between strong, weak typing? That's something you could look up on the internet. So you wouldn't need to type 1, type 2. It's inferred from arguments. That's correct. Do we have anything to help with hygiene of code generation? Yeah, a few things. All right. I don't think I've corrected anyone about strong versus weak typing in a really long time. People are too busy talking about how much they love JavaScript. Okay, so we are not, I mean, maybe the breakpoint went haywire, but what I would guess is that we don't call check function header for anything on line 102. So neither this nor this, which is weird. Oh no, it's not weird because we never get that Okay, so check function header is too late. This might be one that I want to sleep on because this has ramifications. Okay, let me try to explain to people who haven't been working on this compiler for 5 years to the best of my ability what's going on, right? So anytime you have any expression in this language, right, well, you figure out what the type is. And how is that? Well, it's sort of arranged like a tree, like things are in most programming languages. And for any given kind of object, right, you can go down to whatever the various leaves are in a certain order. And as long as you can figure out the types of those leaves, then you can figure out the type of the thing itself. All right. And that's the general process for everything. Well, to figure out what the type of some piece of it is, like if you have A plus B, like a math operation, well, it's like first figure out the type of A, then figure out the type of B, then make sure they're compatible. And if they are, then that tells you the type of plus, right? So a function's more complex than that, right? It has a bunch of arguments. It has return values. And so the type of the function is, you know, a combination of the types of the arguments and the return values and how many there are and all those things, right? Okay. So to know the type of a function, first you go visit all the arguments and figure out their type, and then you figure out the types of all the return values. Figuring out the type of something involves knowing what these things indicate, right? Like looking up identifiers, it's called. Like what is the name of some, you need to know what like let's go to a regular type. Well, we don't really have one, but if this was like int or something, well, you have to know what int means, right? If it was some name of some struct, you have to know what that means to know what the type of the thing is. So the problem is that right now, the time when we are deciding that this is polymorphic and that then maybe it wants to grab stuff out of its sub functions. Because, okay, so the other thing to explain is this thing, right? For the purposes of type matching and like generating an object that defines what T is and what R is and stuff, T and R get lifted up and put into the same place, which is called the constants block of this function map, even though it looks like R is defined by this function down here, right? So there's a type, there's a time when R gets like taken out of the scope of that function and put up here. And that isn't firing. And the problem is check function header, like we're in right now, gets called when you ostensibly have figured out the subtypes of all the arguments and return values and say, okay, we know all those things. Now let's look at them and use those to figure out what the type of the function is as a whole. Problem is, this thing needs R to be in the constants block before we can do all the return values and arguments, right? So R needs to be in the constants block before the arguments get inferred at all. And so I guess that was happening in the parser as well, which I would like it not to. And so it's probably not happening anymore because I stopped flagging this function as polymorphic in the parser. I'm amazed this didn't happen in the game. Like the game compiled, it's just the test that didn't. Anyway, I may want to sleep on this a little bit because I don't just want to do a messy solution to get it to work, because I've done that before many times. Now is the time to really think about it and come up with the best solution. Why does t need to be in parens? That's just the argument list for a function. It's always in parentheses, even if it wasn't t. Company you work at uses Slack for communication. Problem is, it is quite detrimental to long-term productivity. So you're just using email to counter this. How do you do internal communication? Well, a lot of people on my team use Slack. I do not. I have never installed Slack because I don't like that kind of distraction. I don't know what to say about that. If we become a more remote company, we'll have to deal with it. Variables that are not explicitly initialized are initialized to 0. Are there any specific questions about this thing we were just talking about? I realize this might be quite complicated to try to understand, but I figure I should maybe explain it as best as I can. Why doesn't it show an error for both $R and R? I totally, well, you mean in this particular case? The reason is this R is not trying to look anything up. Like I said, if you were on, a few minutes ago when I explained that this is authoritative, this being authoritative also means, like, this defines things, it doesn't ask what they are. This is the one who's asking what they are, and because this isn't being set up, this one doesn't really know. Problem is, watching videos and streams, you think you understand the concepts, but when it will be in your hands and start to use it, you probably have 100 questions or, well, what we're talking about now is an implementation detail that users of the language don't even ever need to care about. This is just internals of the compiler. The thing about where the $sign is and what it means, that's something that the user of the language would know. But like the internal stuff about how it gets moved around and what the problem is right now, that is purely internal. Can you change the order of some lines of code to address this, or is it going to be very complicated? Well, okay. It's not exactly about changing the order of lines of code. It's just more like there are two ways that I could solve it. One way is to just let this lifting of R from here into here stay in the parser for now and live with it. And I might actually do that. I might be happy with that for now and just leave a comment about saying, well, later here's what we would do. Or I might try the other thing. And the reason I don't necessarily want to try the other thing, which I will explain in a second, is because like we're in a simplification phase right now. Like, hey, I rewrote a massive part of the engine of how the compiler works to be simpler and more straightforward, but we have to collect all the way on that. We have to delete all the old code that was messy and complicated that isn't necessary anymore, or we haven't fully gotten the benefit of the rewrite, right? And so like I would rather do that than build out complicated things. Okay, so the other thing, if we weren't going to do this in the parser, I think, and again, I maybe want to give myself more time to think about it more, but I think, you know, remember when I said, hey, you visit all the sub pieces, and then once you know the types of all the sub pieces, like the arguments, the return values, then you can do the type of the whole thing, and that's the way that all objects in the compiler work. That's a sort of like what you would call it sort of it's kind of like a pre-order traversal. Anyway, the point is you're just hopping around to all these nodes, and then you visit the node for the function itself last, okay? And when you visit it last, you know that because you got there, that everything else succeeded and it's time to do the thing, right? Now, what we're kind of saying is if we want to do this in the type checking, we actually want to visit the function not last. You know what I mean? But we also want to visit it last because you need to do the type at the end, but you also want to visit it early to do this lift. And well, I need to think about whether that's worth doing right now. The reason why I'm saying that's maybe a viable answer is that kind of thing we've sort of been wanting off and on for different kinds of things in the language. Like, it's just kind of nice to maybe be able to specify that you do some stuff and then do some work on the main node and then do some other stuff and do some work on the main node. So I need to figure out how that would go, but I'm not sure that now is the right time to do that. That's all. It seems like because the assignment was trying to happen before you had something to assign, changing the order of when stuff happens would address it. I mean, sort of, except we're talking about two different systems that happen very far apart. Like, the parsing happens way before type checking in a completely different thread. So it's like you can't just move something a few lines. It's different from that. What if you keep both? Like when you visit first and you don't have the type, postpone it to last. Well, if you do that in a very messy way, then things become very confusing. You want to make sure that when you write the code, it knows for sure what visit it's supposed to be and not like, oh, oops, there's no type, so I guess this is the first visit. Because if you start doing that kind of thing, well, I mean, sometimes it's solid to do that, but if you start doing that when it's not solid, the problem is that if your compiler is perfect, then that works great. But if there's a bug in it and you're trying to debug it as a developer, which happens all the time, it could be very hard to debug, right? Like you want to catch problems early. So that's, I'm a little bit wary of doing things in too unclear a fashion like that. If some of the unresolved symbols from the parser are going to be corrected by the type process, then why not defer reporting an error in those cases? That's not really what the solution is going to be. It's not that we would register an error and not report it and fix it up later. It's that we would make the data structure correct so that no error would be generated. Could you make just a pass that keeps a cache of these values to look for the type, to have it ready for the type check later? Just a nano pass that didn't do anything else. I mean, maybe. I'm just very leery of adding passes. It's not something that I do lightly. How you would restructure the parser so that error isn't generated. That error doesn't happen in the parser. That error happens in the type checker. Because remember, when you say, like, you know as a human being looking at this, that R is supposed to be defined there, because you kind of just know what this is supposed to be, because we've been talking about it especially. But R could be any variable. R could just be a global variable for all you know. Well, for all the compiler knows, right? So you can't just parse the function and know the answer of what it's supposed to be. Twitter is the biggest mess. Twitter is not your friend. You make a tentative selection of type and cast later if you find it. What? How would that work? How would that work? Okay, I want to look at the parser to verify my theory about this lifting happening in the parser. If it still does, I think that my move is going to be to keep that there. But update the comments and try to improve the structure. Which also means, in theory, auto bake needs to be there too. Okay, I'm looking for other stuff that checks for polymorphism in the parser. I don't see it. Add to constants block. That's what I'm looking for. Add to constants block. All right. Oh, that's quick lambda. That's its own special case. Add definer. Okay. So that I should say procedure. We don't. That's really old. Okay. That's auto poly. Do we have a remove from constants block? I don't know where this happens. Steel. Ah, there we go. This is what I was looking for. That happens in type or... Does it happen twice? Does it happen twice? Gets called from down here. Put arguments. Oh, this gets called by the parser. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is not wrong. This is not right anymore. Explain the okay, so put arguments into lambda. Says if it's a polymorphic procedure, we steal its entries for our own. Okay, and then this gets called well, that's a different place. It's a different place. From the parser right here. So, oh, that's make quick lambda. That is parse lambda. So it happens at the bottom of parse lambda. Right, okay, look, right below the code we were editing, right here. So if it's going to happen here, it literally, this has to be flagged exactly where we flag it, right? Well, not exactly there, but actually, no, what I said is a lie, because this is actually flagging for the outer function. Yeah, never mind. But it's funny that they're right next to each other. It wouldn't let you do anything unless you completed the tutorial. That sounds fun. Yeah. So, you know, because I'm kind of tired and low energy today, I think I'm going to call it here, because I just want to sleep on what is the best decision for this. I'm leaning toward, like I said, I'm leaning toward just keeping it in the parser. And unfortunately, re-enabling that code, but then putting both updating the comments and then explaining what we would do later if we want to move it out of the parser. It's just, I'm not actually sure that we gain that much by moving out of the parser anymore. So this used to be gross and scary that it had to be here because it affected a whole bunch of things besides this looking up this variable that we're talking about. But now it only affects this polymorphic variable steal and none of the other things. So it's actually not that gross anymore. So if we just restructure it, it's probably fine. But I want to think about it. So I'm not gonna do that. But I'm very happy with the previous success today. We cleaned up a couple of really good things. Is there some kind of desugaring phase after the parser? There is a little bit of that. However, desugaring is not that good of an idea when you have the feature set that we do, which is your metaprogram is able to inspect your program and see the syntax tree and the types of everything, right? If what you see when you inspect your program is not what you expect to see, that's confusing and annoying, and it becomes hard to write metaprograms. Because you're like, what the hell is this? I didn't do that. I wrote a switch statement. What is this, right? So you actually don't want to follow this strategy. So a lot of programming languages have a strategy where they have these higher level semantic structures and they desugar them to a smaller set of low level structures because they believe that that then helps them compile more simply, which in principle, I think so, but in practice, I don't think it actually helps as much as people think it does. And well, it prevents the thing that I'm talking about. Hoy. Well, everybody, I'm going to sign off and go to bed soon. Thanks for coming by. We did a little bit of programming. We did a little bit of playing a video game. We did a little bit of complaining. Not really. We didn't really do any complaining today. See y'all later.